Hello again, everyone. So now we're going to talk about the teleological or design argument for the existence of God. And hopefully you already have, just from the short reading you've done, a pretty good feel for what this argument's trying to accomplish. So roughly it's just going to say there is a similarity between machines and the universe. They're both produced by intelligent design, right? So machines are produced by intelligent design. We know that. There's no way that, say, a watch or a cell phone could just randomly fall together, right? There's no way that just happens by random chance. It requires someone to actually design it and use intelligence to design it. So we know this about machines, right? We see that they're produced by intelligent design. Machines don't just pop out of nowhere into nature. And what this argument is going to say is that the universe resembles a machine in the relevant ways, and we'll determine what the relevant ways are later. But machines are produced by intelligent design. The universe resembles a machine in the relevant ways. So therefore, probably the universe was produced by intelligent design. So realize that's an important qualifier there on the conclusion. Probably the universe was produced by intelligent design. So really what this argument is trying to do in its conclusion is say, hey, you have good evidence or good rational support for the belief that there's an intelligent designer. So it's not arguing, hey, I've deductively proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that God exists. That's not the conclusion of this argument. Right? The conclusion is just to say, hey, there's pretty good chance that there's an intelligent designer. So if somebody asks you, why do you believe in God? And you say, well, it's because of the teleological argument. And they'll say, well, that proves the existence of God? You can say no, but it does give me good rational support. Right? I think I have, because of this argument, really good evidence for a belief in an intelligent designer. So that's sort of the overall point of the argument. So now let's get into sort of more the details of the argument. First is to realize that this is an argument by analogy. So what does that mean? Well, we obviously can't inspect the entire universe, right? So we have an issue right from the gate, right out of the gate. We're making a claim about the universe. We're saying, hey, the universe resembles a machine. But we've only seen a very small part of the universe, right? Even with our us personally, we've seen very little of the universe, right? Some people haven't even left Arizona or the United States or have done very little traveling, right? And we've never left Earth. So we've seen very little of the universe. Even from a scientific standpoint, we've seen very little of the universe, right? So even with our space probes and theoretical guesses at where things are located, so on and so forth, right? There's still a limited amount of the universe that's been inspected in those ways. So how can we make this big claim about the whole universe? Well, we can't. So we have to argue by an analogy, right? We have to say that we can't actually witness the universe or how the universe is created. So we can't make this direct reasoning about whether or not it's produced by intelligent design. We have to say, hey, the parts we've seen look relevantly similar to something else that was produced by intelligent design, namely machines. What's another example of where we use this type of reasoning? Well, I think in chemical and medical testing are both different areas where we use this type of argument by analogy. Right? We can't directly reason about a lot of the effects of chemicals or medicines on humans, right? Because we can't just go around testing medicines and chemicals on unsuspecting humans or even those who consent, right? There's moral and legal issues with directly testing on humans. So when we want to know whether or not a chemical or drug is going to work, we have to argue by analogy. We have to find an animal that's similar enough and say, hey, this medicine worked in this animal, so therefore it's very likely to work in humans as well. And so we'll say like chemical X kills monkeys, right? When we test it on monkeys, it kills monkeys. Human beings resemble monkeys in the relevant ways. Once again, you have to specify what the relevant ways are. Thus, you can know, well, probably if that chemical killed monkeys, it's probably going to kill us too, right? So we shouldn't go on into human testing. So we use this argument by analogy quite often. Just as a side note, all of the chemical and medical testing might be bad, right? But we clearly know it's bad against, morally and legally against humans. So that's why we use this argument by analogy. Okay, so that's why we do the same thing with the universe. We can't see the whole universe, so we have to argue by analogy. It resembles something, so it might work like that thing. Okay, so that's how the argument's working. We've already talked about the general goal of the argument. So now we should really inspect the premises. Right? So premise 2 says the universe resembles a machine. And so we've already mentioned, well, we have to specify what the relevant ways are in which the universe resembles a machine. So what might that be? Right? You can start listing things off. So this is a point where I'd suggest you pause for a second and think, how does the universe actually resemble a machine? Okay, hopefully you took some time to think. All right, so, first you could just say, well, machines have parts, the universe has parts, that's how they resemble one another. But see, that won't clearly work, right? It doesn't give us the connection to intelligent design we're looking at. So guess what else has parts? A mound of sand that was blown together by the wind. Right? You can say each grain is a part of that mound. But that clearly wasn't produced by intelligent design, right? That pile of dirt was just a random sort of occurrence. It did happen by chance. The universe just sort of popped, and there's this dust thing. It didn't require anybody to actually design it or use intelligence to do so. So we can't just say, hey, universe has parts, machines have parts, so they're relevantly similar. Right? That's not what we need. We need the part of machines that reflects intelligent design. So what might that be? Well, it's been suggested that we know machines have to be produced by intelligent design because they're a teleological system. Right? So what does that mean? This is the teleological argument. We're appealing to teleological systems. We need to understand what teleological means. Well, the rough and ready definition is just that if you are talking about something's teleology, you're talking about its purpose or function. Right? So, excuse me. When we have a machine, it's not just that we have parts that all work together to serve a specific purpose. Right? So you can have an assembly line where this machine and set of machines come together to produce a can of soda with the particular label it has, so on and so forth, right? So that machine has a particular function. Either if we have one big machine, it's to produce a can of soda, or if it's multiple machines, we have one that forms the can, one that pours the soda into the can, one that seals the can, one that labels the can, so on and so forth. But each one would have its own particular function or purpose, right? Each plays a particular important role in the process. So that's what we think about machines in general. Machines are these teleological systems that we design in order to serve a specific purpose or function. So that would show a machine is produced by intelligent design, because it's impossible to produce something with a specific purpose or function in mind if it wasn't produced by intelligent design. So that's how we think machines are, why machines are produced by intelligent design, because they have this function or purpose. And then now we can say, okay, the universe resembles a machine in that way. Now we have to obviously establish that it does. But if the universe resembles a machine in that way, that the universe also has a specific function or purpose, a teleology, then we can say, hey, the universe probably was produced by intelligent design as well. So hopefully you're seeing that now. Machines have a function which requires intelligent design. The universe also has a function, so it must be produced by intelligent design in the same way machines are. Okay, so I mean, think of how this might work, right? When we're thinking about something's teleology, we're saying, okay, well, now the universe has this specific function or purpose. So now we have to figure out what the universe has for a function or a purpose, right? We're saying it's relevantly similar to a machine because both have a function or purpose or teleology. Now we have to figure out what the teleology of the universe is. Right? So what might that be? Here's another chance where you could pause and think about that for a second. Okay, so no, I don't have a solid answer to this. This is speculative, right? We can all just sort of think about it. But if we can come up with at least one possible teleology, then the argument can work, right? So some have said that the purpose of the universe or the function of the universe is to produce intelligent life, right? Or the function of the universe is to exist in such a way that it harbors us, right? We're able to live here. And other intelligent life, if it exists, is able to live within this universe. And so that could be a function. What could another function be? The purpose of, you would have to talk about sort of each individual section of the universe. You could say the purpose of the sun that we have is to ground sort of the whole entire solar system, right? And so you could talk about specific functions in that way. Now you have to come up with one for the entire universe, which is a little difficult. But I mean, one could be as to be sort of a place for intelligent life to flourish. Okay, so now we've given some support for the premises, right? We've shown, because of their teleology, machines must be produced by intelligent design. And the universe does seem to resemble machines in that way, right? If we can fill in what the purpose or function is of the universe, then we have really strong support for premise 2 there. But there is one little wrinkle. Premise 2 has to claim that the universe as a whole is a teleological system. And that gets us into some issues. But we're going to save that for the next video. So the next video, we'll talk about all the objections to this argument. Hopefully you feel now at this point you have a pretty good understanding of what the argument's trying to do and how each premise works and supports one another. All right, so I'll see you in the objection video. Thank you.